Good morning and welcome to this morning's reflection. Today I'd like to do a reflection on the life of a little known person by the name of John Baillie. John Baillie was not a loud or dramatic figure, hence probably why very few of us know about him. He did not seek to impress, nor did he try to solve every problem of faith. Instead, he lived quietly. He lived at the meeting place of thought, prayer, and moral seriousness. He lived in an age that was marked by uncertainty and upheaval. Baillie chose attentiveness to God, to conscience, and to the inner life. He was born in Scotland in 1886, and he lived through 2 world wars and a rapidly changing world. Many people in his time felt that faith was becoming fragile and outdated. Baillie did not respond by retreating into rigid certainty, nor by abandoning his beliefs. He responded by deepening the interior life, trusting that God is encountered not through forceful answers, but simply through faithful presence. Baillie believed that God is not primarily known as an idea, but as a living reality. God meets us in prayer, in conscience, and in the quiet demands of daily life. He was convinced that the search for God is already shaped by grace, that before we seek God, God is already seeking us. This conviction shaped both his theology and his prayer. As a professor of theology, he took thinking very seriously. He respected questions and doubt, and he did not fear complexity. Yet he insisted that thinking about God must always remain close to worship. For Baillie, theology that does not lead to humility and love has lost its way. Perhaps nowhere is his spirit more clearly seen than in the book A Diary of Private Prayer. For these prayers are simple, honest, and deeply human. They speak of weariness and hope, distraction and trust. They do not strive for perfection. Instead, they rest in the knowledge that God welcomes us as we are. In these prayers, he teaches us that prayer is not about escaping life, but about bringing life into God's presence. Prayer becomes an act of truthfulness, a willingness to stand before God without pretense. Over time, this daily turning toward God quietly reshapes the heart. Another central insight of his life was his understanding of conscience. He believed that when we feel the call to do what is right, especially when it is costly, we are encountering God. Moral struggle for Baillie is not separate from faith. It is one of the places where God speaks most clearly. This gives deep meaning to ordinary choices. Faith is not confined to moments of worship or prayer alone. It is lived out in integrity, compassion, forgiveness, and responsibility. God meets us in the small, unseen decisions that form our character. What makes John Baillie especially compelling is his humility. He knew that God is always greater than our understanding, and he warned against confusing our ideas about God with God himself. Yet this humility did not weaken his faith, it strengthened it. He trusted that God remains faithful even when our understanding falters. Baillie's life reminds us that certainty is not the same as faith, and that trust often grows in the presence of mystery. He invites us to live with openness rather than control, attentiveness rather than anxiety. In reflecting on John Baillie's life, we are gently invited to reflect on our own. Are we making space for prayer that is honest rather than impressive? Are we listening to the quiet voice of conscience? Are we willing to trust God in the ordinary, unfinished places of our lives? John Baillie leaves us with no grand program, only an invitation to pray daily, to think humbly, to live attentively, and to trust that God is already present. May his life encourage us to rest more deeply in God's grace, to walk faithfully with our questions, and to discover God quietly at work within us and among us.